Hello, Ron. This is a book haul, and it is mainly about kind of literature this time, but with a bit of kind of leaning into sort of cultural history as well. So well, that's what I bought today. One of the books that I bought today, and it kind of sort of goes with that one that I bought in the past. Um, yeah, which I have read. And the main reason is because this one is written by an English guy, and that one is written by an American. So I've read that one. So I thought it might be nice to have a check out of this guy, see what he's all about. Since, well, anyway. So apart from this guy who's got an amazing name, Pericles Lewis, who is a professor at some American university, I've forgotten, associate professor of English and comparative literature at Yale. Yeah. And this is the Cambridge Introduction to Modernism, and it was published in 2007. So I thought, yeah, wow, it's a nice hardback thing, and with a funny old picture on the front, which, if you're interested, is called Studland Beach by Vanessa Bell, painted in 1961. Anyway, yeah, I had one or two problems with this as well. Misrepresentation of English history being one of them. And this guy is English, and he's talking about how it's written from a kind of much more of an English British perspective. So, for those interested, then there, naturally enough, therefore, chapters include Ezra Pound, T.S. Eliot, some people I've never heard of, Wyndham Lewis, D.H. Lawrence, Virginia Woolf, amongst one or two others. So, yeah. This is not good enough, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. I kind of got the idea that somehow or other he was holding back in some way. I mean, I don't know whether it was merely because he makes a living in academia, so he doesn't really want to kind of, lay all his cards on the table, as it were, in this book. And maybe it was again my my reading of it. I don't know. But on page 12, as I have personally encountered literature from, or rather, professors and professional academics in literature, when they try and provide the historical context, seem to get it wrong somehow or other, in some way, as if somehow they've taken history somewhat too much for granted. And yeah, something like that. So, for instance, he writes on page 12, literally a couple of sentences. Vast new accumulations of capital gave increased power to the bourgeoisie, the property-owning middle classes. Whether through gradual electoral reform, as in Britain, or through revolution, as in France, the middle classes came to dominate political life. The power of capital supplanted the landed wealth of the aristocracy. The political philosophy most attuned to the middle classes, liberalism, inspired revolutions throughout Europe in 1848, most notably obviously in Germany, as the supporters of liberal republican government attempted to overthrow absolute monarchies. Although these were mostly put down, liberal systems of government gradually came to power, often in the form of constitutional monarchies. So I'm not quite sure what those constitutional monarchies are, to be quite honest. They're obviously not Germany, and they're not exactly France, rather obviously. maybe Belgium or something, maybe Scandinavia. But either way, obviously, I mean, that's just wrong. The power of capital supplanted the landed wealth of the aristocracy. No, it didn't. Absolute nonsense. Not in England at all. That's just not the case. Yeah, constitutional monarchies. So that was the main point. I mean, you just can't say that. It's simply not the case with respect to England. So hopefully this will. Anyway, this will be it's a short thing, and it's meant for sort of kind of undergrad, I think, kind of level, more or less. So I'm pretty hopeful that this will be will assist me in my study of literature. Yeah. Okay. The other book that I bought is Primo Levi's The Periodic Table. So this is for two basic reasons. One reason is because it's going to form part of my reckoning for the Bella Italia tag that I'm still working on, because I don't intend it to be just a minor thing. Some books here all about Italy and stuff. Zeno's Conscience, and The Invisible Cities, and The Risorgimento, and Bassani, and Verga. Yeah. Okay, so this one, Primo Levi is a 20th century guy, and yeah, he had a hell of a life. But the other main reason for purchasing it, I sat down literally an hour ago in the charity bookshop, and I read a random page, the opening page, oddly enough, to Potassium, and it just reads very well. Just reads so well. That was enough for me. I thought it was just obviously going to be good. It's just a person who's interested in the human condition, good, bad, and indifferent. So I think it might be worth reading out of interest as well. Literally, another couple of few sentences. It starts. In January 1941, the fate of Europe and the world seemed to be sealed. Only the deluded could still think that Germany would not win. The stolid English had not noticed that they had lost the game and obstinately resisted under the bombings. But they were alone and suffered terrible losses on all fronts. Only a voluntary deaf and blind man could have any doubts about the fate reserved for the Jews in a German Europe. We had read Feuchtwanger's Oppermans, smuggled secretly in from France, and a British White Book, which arrived from Palestine and described the Nazi atrocities. We had only believed half of it, but that was enough. So, this is part of the Modern Classics, Penguin Modern Classics series. And it's less than 200 pages. And I think it's going to be pretty darn good. And of course, what it does is that little passage that I read first of all kind of highlights what's also happening in modern day Palestine today, I mean, obviously the Israelis left Gaza, but what's happening there obviously is not necessarily quite so straightforward. I mean, I've been encountering mixed messages, and I'm sure you have as well. I mean, there was a Jewish guy in the Oxford Union who, in one of these video debates, that talked about how 3,000 calories were getting through to the Palestinians in Gaza, but that from Israel, but most of it was being hijacked by, I don't know, bandits or something. I'm not sure. I can't remember what he said now. But otherwise, all these various bombings of not just hospitals and not just but kind of tents, little campsites, and the like. So hopefully the Israelis are not trying to suppose that it's that two wrongs make a right and that kind of thing. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. Yeah, obviously, yeah, the Nazi atrocities were kind of a bit like fascist atrocities. So that is the obvious link, and if Israel makes it too obvious to make that link from one to the other, then they really kind of they've gone badly wrong. And yeah, I it's what do they call them? A nice term from America. Worrisome. Yeah, worrisome. And by contrast, the other book that I am kind of it's to do with a buddy read. So this is a buddy read with Mr. Aaron Facer, who obviously looks like the how shall we say, the most unpretentious Facer perhaps on YouTube, but he we decided to read Life and Fate by which I have in my shelf up here, by Vasily Grossman. But he'd already read Natasha's Dance by Orlando Figes. So I already had this copy that I have featured in a previous video. That's a funny old copy. I mean, maybe I can do this. Yep. A Guide to Further Reading is the opening page. And 3 pages in, we have the index. And several pages in, we have this sort of thing, which ought to be at the back. And is at the back as well. But somehow it's ended up at the front as in addition to the back. And it only starts on page 15. So I'm missing the whole introduction, which is very good as well, and the first 14 pages of it. But otherwise, I've been reading it on audiobook, kind of during the day. So yeah, I'm using this. I mean, it was like $1 or something, £1. I'm kind of about halfway through, kind of thing. So I've been playing catch up with Mr. Facer steadily, but Historathon 2025 commitments as well have kind of sort of stalled my advance, shall we say. But yeah, what a book. What an amazing book. Obviously it ties in with literature because it's a cultural history of Russia. So he does really get round to literature and art and architecture and poetry and all the rest of it, the way of life and the impressions of the way of life. So people's well, anyway, very, very recommended book. Amazing thing. Yeah. But he talks a lot about Tolstoy. Tolstoy's in here, Dostoevsky, and all these other guys, Gogol, you name it. All sorts of people. Yeah. I mean, I just got to page 260. For the intelligentsia, which defined itself by its cultural mission to raise the masses to its own levels of civilization, this defection was a mortal blow. Some sort of defection between what had been earlier. Yeah, there's a big movement in Russia in the 19th century that idolized the peasants, if I can use that rather lousy term. And then things kind of sort of turned a bit sour and a bit wrong. So yeah, there's lots of history happening here and lots of humanity, and again, remarkable. And there's little elements like that, a sentence like that, that kind of links in very immediately with our own day kind of thing. It sort of pans out there for across history. I mean, there's lots of stuff for sort of slow history. But anyway, there it is. Those are my two main purchases today. And, well, look forward to them. Hope everything is going well, reading-wise. And let me know what you think. And please like and subscribe. Bye for now.